The enemy advances. We cannot delay. Our unity is our strength. We must strike.
The galactic underbelly. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where stars burned like forgotten promises and nebulae swirled in cosmic indifference, the interstellar community thrived on a delicate balance of power, trade, and treachery. The Galactic Concordance, a loose federation of over 200 sentient species, maintained a fragile peace through diplomacy, economic incentives, and the occasional show of force. But beneath this veneer of civilization lurked the shadows. The mercenaries, the pirates, the black market dealers who operated in the gray zones where laws bent like light around a black hole. Among these shadows was the Zorathian Syndicate, a notorious band of mercenaries hailing from the arid world of Zorath Prime. The Zorathians were reptilian bipeds, their scales shimmering with iridescent hues that shifted based on their mood, green for calm, red for rage. They were known for their brute strength, regenerative abilities, and a cultural code that prized honor in combat above all else. Led by Captain Vexlar, a battle-scarred veteran with a missing eye replaced by a glowing cybernetic implant, the Syndicate had carved out a reputation as unstoppable enforcers. They'd crushed rebellions on gas giants, assassinated warlords in asteroid belts, and hijacked freighters laden with rare elements. No job was too dirty, no foe too formidable, or so they thought. It was in the dim-lit bowels of a space station orbiting the neutral world of Epsilon Eridani that Vexlar received the contract that would change everything. The station, known as Drift Point, was a melting pot of species, the tentacled cephalons with their psychic whispers, the avian Etherians gliding on artificial wings, the burly Kronax with hides tougher than Durasteel. Holographic ads flickered in the air, promising everything from neural enhancements to illicit pleasures. Vexlar sat in a private booth at the Void's Edge Cantina, nursing a tankard of fermented nebula gas that burned like fire down his throat. Across from him hovered a holographic projection of his client, a shadowy figure cloaked in digital distortion. The voice was modulated, genderless, species-neutral. Captain Vexlar, your reputation precedes you. We require your services for a high-risk extraction on Terra Nova, a human colony world. Vexlar's scales flickered to a cautious yellow. Humans? What's the target? A research facility. They possess a prototype weapon that could shift the balance of power in the Concordance. Your team will infiltrate, secure the device, and eliminate any resistance. Payment is triple your standard rate, half up front. The offer was tempting. Triple pay could buy a fleet of new ships, upgrade their arsenal with plasma disruptors and cloaking fields. But something nagged at Vexlar. Whispers in the mercenary circuits, tales told in hushed tones over drinks. Human special forces, he muttered. I've heard stories. The client laughed, a synthetic chuckle. Stories? Myths to scare hatchlings. Humans are primitives, new to the stars, barely out of their stone age. Their special forces are just soldiers with fancy names. SEALs, Delta, Spetsnaz, laughable. You'll crush them like insects. Vexlar leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it scanned for deception in the hologram. None detected. Fine. We accept. But if this goes south, the balance is forfeit. The hologram flickered out, leaving Vexlar alone with his thoughts. He activated his comlink. Crew, assembled that we have a job. As his team gathered, 10 Zorathians, each armed to the fangs with energy blades and kinetic rifles. Vexlar couldn't shake the unease. He'd fought cephalons who could read minds, Etherians who dodged bullets in flight, Kronax who shrugged off plasma burns. But humans? They were different. Unpredictable. The stories weren't just myths. They were warnings. The journey to Terra Nova took 3 standard cycles, warping through hyperspace lanes patrolled by Concordance drones. En route, Vexlar reviewed the intel. Terra Nova was a lush world, terraformed by humans decades ago, teeming with dense forests, towering mountains, and oceans that hid submerged bases. The target facility was nestled in a volcanic caldera, guarded by automated turrets and a contingent of human military. But the real threat, according to the dossier, was a unit called the Ghosts, Human Special Forces Elite, rumored to operate in shadows, striking without warning. To steal his crew, Vexlar shared war stories around the mess hall. Remember the siege of Kronax 4? We took down a battalion with half our numbers. His second-in-command, Skara, nodded, her scales a confident green. Humans bleed like any other. One shot, and they're done. But as they dropped out of hyperspace, orbiting the blue-green marble of Terra Nova, Vexlar felt a chill. The planet's defenses scanned them, civilian freighter disguise holding. They descended in a stealth shuttle, cloaked against radar, landing in a forested clearing under cover of night. The air was thick with humidity, alien insects chirping in the underbrush. Vexlar's team moved like predators, scales blending with the foliage. Thermal scanners showed the facility 5 clicks ahead, heat signatures minimal, mostly technicians. No sign of heavy troops. Easy pickings, Skara whispered. They advanced, silent as ghosts themselves. But as they crested a ridge, a faint rustle caught Vexlar's ear. He signaled halt. His cybernetic eye zoomed in. Nothing. Paranoia? Then it happened. A shadow detached from a tree, human-shaped, clad in adaptive camo that shimmered like water. Before Vexlar could react, a suppressed shot cracked the air. One of his scouts dropped, a neat hole in his skull, no regeneration possible. Ambush! Vexlar roared, scales flashing red. The forest erupted. Humans, ghosts, emerged from nowhere, firing with precision that defied logic. Zorathians returned fire, plasma bolts scorching trees, but the humans moved like liquid, dodging, rolling, using cover in ways that seemed improvised yet flawless. Vexlar felled one with a burst from his rifle, but another appeared behind him, knife flashing. He parried, scales cracking under the blade's vibro edge. "What are you?" he hissed. The human grinned, teeth bared in a feral smile. "Your worst nightmare." The fight was brutal, short. Half his team down in minutes. They retreated, dragging wounded, the facility forgotten. As they fled, Vexlar understood the first layer of the myth. Humans didn't fight fair. They fought to win, no matter the cost. Back on the shuttle, patching wounds, Skara gasped. "How?" "We outnumbered them." Vexlar stared at the stars. "That's why no mercenary dares fight them. This is just the beginning." Echoes of forgotten battles. Word of the botched Terra Nova job spread through the mercenary networks like a virus. Vexlar's syndicate licked their wounds on a neutral asteroid outpost, repairing their shuttle and recruiting replacements. But the failure gnawed at him. Triple pay lost, reputation tarnished. He needed answers. Why were humans so formidable? In the outpost data archives, he delved into galactic history, unearthing tales that explained the title whispered in every shadow. Why no mercenary dares fight human special forces? The first echo came from the Battle of Zirian Drift a decade prior. A coalition of mercenary fleets, Zorathians, Kronax, even rogue Cephalons, had been hired by a dissident faction to seize a human mining colony in the Zirian asteroid belt. The pay was astronomical, the target seemingly undefended. Humans were new to space then, their ships clunky, their weapons primitive kinetics instead of elegant energy beams. The mercenaries struck at dawn, orbital time. Bombardment softened defenses, dropships disgorged warriors onto the rocky surface. Victory seemed assured. But then the human special forces arrived. Units like the SAS and DevGru, deployed via stealth pods that evaded sensors. What followed was carnage. Humans didn't charge in waves like Kronax brutes. They infiltrated, sabotaged. One team of 5 humans rigged the Mercenaries' flagship with explosives, detonating it from within. Another used the asteroid's low gravity to launch guerrilla assaults, picking off leaders with sniper fire from impossible distances. A surviving Kronax Mercenaries log entry read, "They adapt. We hit them with EMPs to disable tech. They switch to manual iron sights. We flood tunnels with gas. They hold breath longer than physics allows. Masks improvised from scraps." One human, shot 3 times, still fought, dragging his guts, taking 2 of us with him. The coalition shattered, fleeing with 70% casualties. The humans? Minimal losses. They didn't pursue. They didn't need to. The message was clear: mess with us, pay the price. Vexlar cross-referenced this with the siege of Vega Prime. There, a pirate armada led by Etherian skylords targeted a human outpost for slaves and tech. Etherians, with their flight and speed, were apex predators in Zero-G. But human rangers, special forces trained in void combat, turned the tables. Humans engineered kill zones in the outpost corridors, using magnetic boots to anchor while Etherians flitted about. When pirates breached, humans unleashed micro-drones, swarms that targeted wings, grounding the flyers. Hand-to-hand, humans proved relentless. An Etherian account described a human operator, suit breached, exposed to vacuum, yet continuing to fight for minutes, sealing the breach with his body to save comrades. Why? The account pondered. No other species endures such pain. They push beyond limits, driven by what? Loyalty? Madness? Deeper in the archives, Vexlar found classified concordance reports on human physiology. Humans lacked the regeneration of Zorathians, the psychic shields of Cephalons, the armor of Kronax. But they had endurance. Adrenaline surges that turned pain into fuel. Minds that improvised weapons from anything, sticks, rocks, even their own blood as lubricant for jammed guns. One report detailed a lone human Green Beret holding a mountain pass against a mercenary horde for 48 hours. Outnumbered 50-1, he used terrain, traps, and sheer will. When reinforcements arrived, he was alive, surrounded by bodies. They don't quit, the report concluded. That's their edge. Vexlar shared these with his crew. Skara scoffed. Old tales. We've evolved tech since then. But Vexlar saw the pattern. Mercenaries fought for pay, humans for something deeper, home, honor, each other. In HFY lore, it was called the human factor, that indefinable spark making them punch above their weight. A new contract came. Assassinate a human diplomat on a neutral world. Low risk, high reward. Vexlar hesitated but accepted. This time we prepare. They studied human tactics, armed with suppressants for adrenaline, jammers for comms. Landing on the world, they tracked the diplomat to a summit. The hit was clean, or so it seemed. Sniper shot from afar. But as they exfiltrated, shadows closed in. Human Delta Force, embedded as civilians, counter-ambushed. The fight was a blur. Humans used non-lethal takedowns first, stuns, grapples, then escalated. Vexlar escaped barely, losing 3 more crew. Why? He demanded of a captured human before releasing him. A mercy ploy. The human spat blood. Because we train for chaos. You fight predictably. We thrive in it. Vexlar understood the second layer. Humans anticipated, adapted faster than any AI. The breaking point. Reeling from losses, the Zorathian syndicate sought refuge in the lawless fringes of the Orion arm. Vexlar's scales dulled with stress, his cybernetic eye flickering erratically. The crew muttered dissent, morale cracked like brittle armor. But pride and poverty drove them to one last job. A corporate overlord from the Cephalon Collective offered a fortune to raid a human black site on the ice world of Glacius 7. The prize? Experimental neural tech that could make mercenaries invincible. Last chance, Vexlar told his diminished team. We hit hard, get out fast. No heroics. They equipped with the best, cryosuits for the sub-zero temps, neural dampeners to counter human adaptability, drones for recon. Hyperspace jump deposited them in orbit. Scans showed the site buried under glaciers, guarded by automated systems and a small human garrison, likely special forces, but intel suggested only a platoon. Descent was hellish, blizzards whipping like angry spirits. They trekked across frozen wastes, drones mapping crevasses. At the site's entrance, a massive vault door, they hacked the locks. Inside, warmth hit like a slap. Labs humming with energy, scientists in white coats scattering. Secure the tech. Vexlar barked. But alarms wailed. Humans responded, not with panic, but precision. These were Navy SEALs, augmented for extreme environments. They didn't charge, they melted into vents, behind consoles, turning the lab into a deadly maze. A Zorathian triggered a trap, floor panels electrified, frying him. Another fell to a hidden sniper, bullet-piercing armor at weak joints. Vexlar fired back, plasma melting bulkheads, but humans used the melting metal as improvised weapons, hurling molten blobs. Skara cornered one human, blade raised. Surrender. The human laughed, eyes wild. Make me. She struck. He dodged, countering with a pressure point strike that numbed her arm. Humans fought dirty, eye gouges, groin kicks, ignoring honor codes. Another human, wounded, detonated a grenade, taking 2 Zorathians with him in a suicidal blast. Vexlar grabbed the neural device, a sleek orb pulsing with light, and rallied retreat. But outside, the blizzard intensified. Humans pursued, skis and snowshoes making them ghosts in the whiteout. One by one his team fell, ambushed from snowdrifts, throats slit silently. Vexlar's dampeners failed. Humans adapted, using the cold to their advantage, freezing weapons mid-fire. Alone, device in hand, Vexlar reached the shuttle. But a human waited, rifle trained. Drop it. Vexlar charged. The human sidestepped, tripping him into snow. Knife to throat. Why fight us? Vexlar gasped. Because you threaten what's ours. And we never back down. Spared, again, Vexlar fled, device lost in the scuffle. Back in space, he broadcast a warning to all mercenaries. Avoid humans. Their special forces are demons. The third layer revealed. Humans bonded in brotherhood, fighting as one unbreakable unit. The eternal warning. Years passed. Vexlar retired. His syndicate dissolved. He became a storyteller in Driftpoint's cantinas. Scales faded to gray. Young mercenaries listened, wide-eyed, to his tales. Why no mercenary dares fight human special forces? He'd begin. He'd recount the resilience, the ability to endure wounds that felled giants. The ingenuity, turning defeat into traps. The spirit, that HFY essence, where humans rose when broken. In the galaxy, the legend grew. Humans expanded, their special forces a shield against chaos. Mercenaries learned. Fight anyone else, but not them. For in the stars, humanity's fuck yeah was the ultimate deterrent. Vexlar died old, but his warning echoed eternally.